YN's POV, the aftermath of my declaration is a blur of gasps, hurried whispers, and retreating footsteps. The party end up into chaos. Tae-hyung and Chairman is angry. I stood up for myself. I spoke my truth. And Jungkook stood by me. I refused to be owned, but he made me feel seen, and now he's protecting me. The thought sends a dangerous warmth through the cold anger, a flicker of something new in the wreckage. Jungkook's hand is still on my back, a silent, warm anchor in the swirling storm of chaos. "We need to leave," he murmurs, his voice low and urgent, meant only for my ears, cutting through the rising shouts of Chairman Park. He doesn't wait for my agreement, simply steers me towards a discreet side exit, his body shielding me from the lingering stares and the furious, booming voice of Chairman Park, who is now unleashing his wrath on Tae-hyung. The cool night air hits my face as we step outside. He leads me quickly to a sleek, dark car waiting idly by the curb. Jae-ho, ever the silent shadow, is already in the driver's seat, his face carefully blank. Without a word, Jungkook opens the back door for me, his expression unreadable yet resolute, his movements efficient. I slide in, the cold leather chilling my skin, and he follows, pulling the door shut with a soft click that seals us away from the ruined party, from the mansion, from the lies. The silence in the car is heavy. My chest still heaved, my breath coming in short gasps. I press my forehead against the cool window, watching the blur of the city lights, trying to process my reality. "Where are we going?" I ask, my voice hoarse, finally breaking the suffocating silence. Jungkook looks at me, his gaze intense. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere you can think, away from their influence. A property I own, off the grid. No one will find you there tonight." He pauses, then adds, his voice softer, a low rumble that feels oddly comforting, "And somewhere we can discuss what happens next. You've detonated a bomb, YN. Now we need to manage the fallout, together." His words, blunt as they are not a reprimand. He doesn't see me as a fragile victim, but as a force, a player in the game. And for the first time in days, I feel a strange sense of clarity, a burgeoning strength. The fear hasn't vanished, but it's intertwined with a fierce resolve. "Fallout?" I repeat, a humorless laugh escaping me. "I just blew up my entire future, Jungkook. My family's entire deal." "Exactly," he responds, his eyes never leaving mine. "Now we fix it. Or rather, we build something new, something real, something on your terms." His words are a promise and a challenge. Jungkook's POV. This was my territory, and I would not allow her to be devoured by my family's hypocrisy. Seeing her stand tall, resolute, even as her world imploded, confirmed my conviction. She was worth every risk, every single one. As Jae-ho drives us away, I sense her exhaustion, her tremor, but also the undeniable steel beneath it. She's not breaking, she's hardening. I don't steal what belongs to my brother, but she was never his. I tried to stay away. That internal mantra has shifted, transformed. Now it's a deafening truth. She was never his, and I will ensure she is truly free no matter the cost. The dangerous truth of my feelings for her is no longer a whisper. It's a deafening roar in my mind. It's not just about duty or family politics anymore. It's about her. We arrive at a secluded, modern house nestled in a remote, wooded area. It's a place I use for solitary contemplation, for strategic planning, for escaping the suffocating pressures of my family. It's my sanctuary, and now it will be hers. "Rest," I tell her, my voice softer than usual, watching the adrenaline slowly leave her. "You've had a long night. We'll talk in the morning when you've had a chance to breathe." She shakes her head, the last of her emerald gown swaying. "I can't just rest. My whole world just shattered, Jungkook. How can I sleep?" Her voice is tight with a mix of exhaustion and the lingering shock. "I know," I say, stepping a little closer, allowing the unspoken connection to bridge the small distance. "And we will deal with it, all of it, but you need your strength for what comes next. The real fight isn't over. Not by a long shot. Tonight, just try to let it settle." My gaze sweeps over her, taking in her disheveled elegance, the slight tremor in her hands. "Jungkook, thank you," she says again, her voice quiet, sincere, her eyes searching mine for deeper meaning. She's no longer just a pawn in my brother's game. She's a queen, and I have just placed her on a new board, one where the rules are still being written. I retreat to another part of the house, leaving her alone, giving her the quiet and space she desperately needs to process everything. But my mind is already racing, mapping out the next steps. Chairman will be furious, vindictive. Tae-hyung will be desperate. My position in the family, my carefully constructed neutrality, has been shattered. But in the wreckage, something new has emerged, something far more potent. An undeniable connection to YN, forged in the crucible of truth and betrayal. This week isn't just about destroying lies. It's about building a new reality. And I intend to build it with her, by her side. YN's POV, I wake feeling oddly rested. The quiet hum of the modern house, the scent of fresh coffee drifting from the kitchen, is a balm to my raw nerves. Yesterday, I ripped apart a carefully constructed lie, a web of deceit meant to trap me. Today, I have to build something new from the wreckage. Jungkook finds me by the large windows, staring out at the mist-shrouded forest lost in thought. He's dressed impeccably in a dark suit, a silent signal that the brief lull is over. The battle is about to begin. He places a mug of steaming coffee in my hand, its warmth seeping into my cold fingers. "Chairman has demanded a meeting," he says, his voice calm, pragmatic, cutting through my thoughts. "This afternoon, at his private estate, he wants to resolve the situation. Resolve it by sweeping it under the rug?" I counter, my jaw tight, a fresh surge of defiance hardening my resolve. Spinning some believable story about a misunderstanding, making me out to be the irrational one? Jungkook meets my gaze, his eyes betraying a hint of something unreadable, perhaps admiration, perhaps a shared anticipation of the fight. He will try, that's his way. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to ensure you and your family walk away truly free with your leverage intact and your future firmly in your own hands, and to dismantle the pretense that allowed this to happen. He gestures towards the comfortable sofa. Sit. We need a strategy and a plan that leaves them no choice. For the next few hours, the living room transforms into our war room. We pore over documents, his laptop screen glowing with data. His insights into his family's intricate web of businesses, their weak points, their Achilles heel, all prove invaluable. He lays bare their vulnerabilities, their dependence on public image, their fear of scandal, their carefully cultivated ethical reputation. He explains precisely how Chairman Global standing would crumble if the true nature of my conditional engagement and the non-compete clause were exposed to the international press, to their key partners, to the world. We rehearse my arguments, strengthening them with his knowledge, his understanding of their precise fears. He doesn't tell me what to say. He empowers me to say it effectively, with the weight of undeniable truth behind me. He sees me as a partner, an equal, a sharp mind to be valued. And that, in itself, is a revolutionary feeling, a stark contrast to Taehyung's dismissal. Why are you doing this, Jungkook? I finally ask, the question hanging between us, heavy with unspoken weight. I need to hear it, to understand his true motives. You're risking everything, your standing, your relationship with your family, your entire future within this empire. He looks away for a moment, towards the window, then back at me, his gaze raw and direct, stripped of all masks. I told you, I don't tolerate unnecessary lies in my territory, YN, and their manipulation, their deceit. It was sickening. But it's more than that now, much more. He steps closer, closing the small space between us, the air around us suddenly charged with an unspoken confession. A dangerous truth. You deserve better. You deserve the truth, and the freedom that comes with it. I tried to stay away, to let their games play out, to not get involved, but watching them try to own you, to silence you, to make you small, I couldn't. I couldn't stand by and let it happen. His hand reaches out, a tentative touch on my arm, his fingers warm against my skin, sending a shiver through me that has nothing to do with cold. You were never his, YN, never truly, and I couldn't stand by and watch them try to make you believe you were. I won't allow it. His words, unadorned and powerful, cut through all the remaining pretense, all my lingering doubts. He truly sees me, values me, in a way no one else ever has. It's terrifying, exhilarating, and irrevocably real. Jungkook's POV. Her question about my motives deserves a full, honest answer. The political game, the power struggle, the dismantling of my father's hypocrisy, that's part of it, a crucial part. But the deeper truth, the one I've fought to suppress, to deny, is YN herself. The defiance in her eyes, her quiet intelligence, her unwavering spirit in the face of their manipulation, it all resonates with a part of me I keep hidden, a part that demands justice and truth. I tried to stay away. I failed. And now there's no going back, no pretending I can remain neutral. My touch on her arm is a promise, an acknowledgement of the dangerous, undeniable pull between us, a pull I no longer want to fight. The meeting at Chairman Park's private estate is a tense affair. The atmosphere is thick with unspoken accusations and seething anger, a silence that hums with resentment. Taehyung sits rigidly beside father, his face a mask of furious resentment, throwing venomous glances my way. Chairman Park, however, is a picture of cold, controlled fury, his eyes like steel, his jaw tight. He sees this as a challenge to his absolute authority. YN, Chairman Park begins, his voice deceptively calm, a low, dangerous rumble. This unfortunate misunderstanding needs to be rectified discreetly. We can issue a joint statement, explain the complexities of a modern alliance, perhaps a minor disagreement. Your family's assets will be secure, of course. Taehyung is still prepared to uphold his end of the bargain, with certain adjustments. It's an ultimatum, a demand for submission disguised as an olive branch, a desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative. But YN is no longer the woman who walked into this mansion days ago. She squares her shoulders, her chin lifting, her gaze direct and unflinching. There is no misunderstanding, Chairman Park, only manipulation, a carefully planned corporate takeover disguised as an engagement. I will not be your son's fiancé, and my family will not be a silent subsidiary to your empire. The non-compete clause is a fraudulent attempt to stifle innovation and control independent growth, an unethical move that would cripple our company and my own future. If this alliance, built entirely on deceit, is not immediately and publicly dissolved, with a full retraction of all damaging clauses, I will ensure the true nature of your conditional announcement becomes known to every media outlet, every ethical investment firm, and every global partner your company holds dear. I have all the documentation ready to go public. Her words, delivered with a quiet strength that belies the fire in her eyes, hit their mark. Taehyung sputters, his composure finally snapping. You can't. You'll ruin everything. Our reputation, your own families. You ruined it, Taehyung, I interject, my voice cutting through his outburst cold and clear. I lean forward, my gaze fixed directly on my father, my own challenge clear. And I have the evidence to back up YN's claims. Every shell company, every manipulated stock dip, every clause in the conditional engagement designed to suppress YN's family, to steal their intellectual property. The damage to the company's reputation, to your global standing, Chairman, would be catastrophic. The market would plummet. Our partners would abandon us. This is not a negotiation. It's a choice. Accept YN's terms or face total public exposure. The silence stretches, thick with unspoken power plays, a battle of wills. Finally, he lets out a slow, controlled breath, a sound of defeat, barely masked. Very well, he says, his voice clipped, filled with barely concealed fury. The engagement is dissolved. A public statement will be issued, citing irreconcilable differences. All clauses pertaining to a merger or acquisition of YN's family assets are nullified. Your family's business will remain fully independent, with all original assets restored. He casts a withering glare at Taehyung, whose face falls into utter despair, his world crumbling. As for you, Taehyung, your involvement in future international ventures is suspended indefinitely. You will report directly to me and learn what true strategic diplomacy entails, not crude, petty manipulation. It's a victory, hard-won and brutally achieved. YN looks at me, a silent wave of relief, exhaustion, and gratitude passing between us, a shared understanding of what we've just accomplished. Later, as the sun begins to set, casting long golden shadows, YN and I stand on the balcony of the secluded house. The battle is over, for now. She is free. Her family's business will thrive, untethered by deceit. Taehyung's ambitions are curbed, his public image tarnished, forced to rebuild under the chairman's watchful, disappointed eye. Chairman Park has averted a public scandal, but at the cost of his control over YN, and with a grudging, wary respect for my own capacity for strategic ruthlessness, my position within the family is irrevocably changed. I'm no longer just the observant younger brother, but a force to be reckoned with, an independent power with newfound allegiances. So, YN says, a soft, genuine smile finally gracing her lips, what happens now? For me? For us? I turn to face her. Now, I say, my voice low, a promise in its tone, we rebuild, and we start by living truly. For the first time, YN, you're truly free to choose your path to build your own empire with no one holding you back. And I take a step closer, reaching out to cup her face gently, my thumb brushing her cheekbone, feeling the warmth of her skin. I am free to choose mine, and I choose to be by your side if you'll have me. Our eyes lock, filled with a shared understanding, a quiet strength, and the dangerous, beautiful promise of a future. Standing here under the fading light, with her by my side, it feels like the beginning of everything. We refuse to be owned, and we will never be silenced. Not by anyone.